Do your consumer marketing efforts feel complicated? Experian Automotive delivers data-driven marketing solutions to find new customers and keep loyal ones. Drive measurable results with trusted data and expert support. Learn more at Experian.com/automotive.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Friday, June 20th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, tariffs could add about $2,000 to sticker prices. Most EV drivers choose to lease rather than buy in April. And Stellantis reportedly considers selling one of its brands. Plus, service members are buying more F&I products than other customers. Our own John Hutter talks about why.
The data does show they're better for a lender as well. There's not as many issues with them making payments and things like that.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
Car buyers will bear the brunt of the $30 billion cost of President Trump's tariffs. That's according to AlixPartners, which says the duties are driving up prices by almost $2,000 per vehicle. The firm expects auto companies to pass along 80% of the cost of Trump's tariffs. It calculates that average cost at $1,760 more per vehicle. AlixPartners also cautions that the administration's anti-electric vehicle policies risk relegating American automakers to bit players in the global EV market.
Meanwhile, overseas, tariffs likely cost German automakers more than $500 million in April alone. That's according to the head of the VDA Auto Industry Lobby Group. European automakers and suppliers that sell in the U.S. now face 25% tariffs. VDA says the total cost to automakers in April was $576 million US.
Stellantis is considering a possible sale of its struggling luxury Maserati unit, among other options. That's according to two sources with knowledge of the matter who spoke with Reuters. The news comes as the automaker seeks to overhaul its sprawling portfolio of 14 brands. A Stellantis spokesperson told Reuters, quote, "Respectfully, Maserati is not for sale."
And according to Experian, nearly 60% of U.S. consumers who purchased a new electric vehicle in the first quarter leased it. That's up significantly from 36% from a year ago. For comparison, only a quarter of all new car buyers leased their vehicles in the same time period. The high EV leasing rate indicates a trend building since the tax credits came into effect in the U.S. and made monthly EV lease payments attractive to many consumers. The Senate Finance Committee recently proposed eliminating the $7,500 EV tax credit. And those are today's headlines. So Jamie, according to AlixPartners, tariffs could add about $2,000 to sticker prices. What specific models or brands are most likely to see the biggest price hikes?
Well, as far as brands, right, it's mostly the import brands. Some brands don't make any vehicles in the U.S., so highly exposed to tariffs. Mitsubishi, Jaguar, Land Rover, Volvo has a plant in South Carolina, but it produces very little. So, those are some of the most exposed brands. EVs can really face the taxes because the prices tend to be higher. And other, high-end cars, luxury vehicles are going to have the biggest tax on them. The thinking being, in part, of course, it's a percentage, but maybe those would be able to pass those costs along better because they have more affluent customers. But big challenges there. But there's really no brand that is going to be immune. And, we've already seen Tesla raise prices, which it sort of attributed to a model year refresh or whatever, but probably has to do with, Tesla's the most American-made brand in the U.S. and they're facing tariff costs. Everyone's going to face them.
Gotcha. Coming up, our own John Hutter talks about why service members are more likely to buy F&I products at the dealership. That's next on Daily Drive.
Daily Drive listeners like you have access to the lowest price for Automotive News Congress 2025 on September 11th.
The event is where the industry's biggest players tackle its toughest challenges. Congress attendees don't just follow the industry, they lead it.
This year's featured speakers include Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yusin Chung and General Motors CEO Mary Barra.
We are investing in America. We're creating jobs. That's creating IP in this country. And I think, the United States needs to lead in key technologies.
Join us to gain the insights and connections needed to steer your business through massive change.
To get the lowest price for the event, go to autonews.com/events, select Auto News Congress, and type in the discount code Daily Drive, one word, all caps. We'll see you in September in Detroit.
Are you an automotive marketer navigating today's rapidly evolving landscape? Finding new customers and nurturing existing relationships can feel like a complex journey. But what if you had a powerful engine fueled by trusted data to guide your way? That's where Experian Automotive comes in. We understand the challenges you face. Today's personalized consumer journeys demand intelligent planning and precise execution. That's why we offer the Experian Marketing Engine, a coordinated suite of data-driven solutions designed to help you develop, execute, and most importantly, measure effective marketing campaigns. At the heart of our solutions is Experian's trusted data and a dedicated automotive team committed to your success. We empower you to drive measurable results with unique data insights, including identity solutions to help you better connect with your ideal customers with greater accuracy by cleaning and enriching your first-party data. Consumer and market insights helps you gain a deeper understanding of market trends and consumer behavior, enabling you to better target consumers. Targeted audiences to help you pinpoint and target the right prospects at the right time with the right message. Better data truly connects you to better results. Stop guessing and start driving measurable impact with Experian Automotive. Ready to transform your automotive marketing? Visit Experian.com/automotive to learn how our data-driven solutions can help you find new customers, keep loyal ones, and navigate the road ahead with confidence. That's Experian.com/automotive. Take control of your marketing journey today.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Kellen Walker. Service members are more likely to buy automotive finance and insurance products than civilians, and they've resumed purchasing guaranteed asset protection en masse. That's after the government in 2020 once again made it feasible for dealerships and lenders to include the coverage in auto deals. Those findings come from a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau report released this year. Automotive News finance and insurance reporter John Hutter has been covering the story. He spoke with senior retail editor Dan Shine.
John, welcome back, and thanks for joining me on the F&I Friday edition of Daily Drive.
Hey, great to be here.
So the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, put out a report recently that looked at military members and how they work with F&I and auto loans. Kind of an interesting report, real deep look at it. Give me some of the highlights. First, I guess, a little bit about the report when we're talking about what time frame, and then some of what you kind of see the key takeaways.
Right. Yeah. Well, what the CFPB somewhere in the last couple of years started kind of a data pilot project. I'm not sure if that is, if they're going to move forward with that now that we've had an administration change, but, they had a pool of lenders that, they were getting kind of deeper F&I, automotive finance and F&I type data from. And so among these, they did one, I'm blanking on the topic. This is the latest one they've done on this, and where they took a specific look at service members versus civilians and kind of what their loan structures looked like and what their what kind of F&I products they were buying and how much they were spending, that kind of thing. It came out right at the transition in administrations, so it was still Chopra, reportedly was, he's not the director anymore, and reportedly he was fired by Trump in January, possibly early February. This report obviously was prepared kind of during the Biden administration, but it was issued right at the beginning of Trump's. I think the CFP might have been looking for, signs that service members were being mistreated or anything like that. But what stood out to me really was the report was pretty vanilla, pretty neutral looking at the two populations. And kind of what stood out to me was the service members, they tend to buy more F&I products than civilians. Their spend on them is more. From a dealership perspective, that's an interesting just thing to know about a particular demographic, that there's definitely more demand. So, from an F&I salesperson perspective, it's good to have your pitch ready for
Right.
them. Don't be discouraged or whatever, just because this is a population that seems to be definitely more interested in products than just the general civilians out there.
And one thing they did note is that military members, service members, are being charged a little bit more when it comes to interest rates on the vehicle. Although that can be kind of like, I guess, excused away. Maybe that a lot of them are younger. Maybe it might be their first time buying a vehicle, and then interest rates might be a little bit higher for them just because of those factors. Talk a little bit about that.
The CFPB noted that service members are getting higher interest rates, and they thought that only about 45% was their quote, roughly 45% of the difference in the rates were explained by how the credit scores service members had versus civilians. But the American Financial Services Association, which represents basically all of the big auto lenders out there, they were kind of critical of the report, and they pointed out that, well, service members are typically younger, they're younger population, which means, they're more likely to be first time vehicle buyers. And there's just other factors that could be in place. And, and the CFPB did admit in their report that, yeah, the service members are a lot younger than the population as a whole.
Right.
So,
And also they also highlight a little bit the guaranteed asset protection or gap coverage, and how, because of the Military Lending Act, it kind of went down. Explain, I guess, how gap and MLA factor in, and how the numbers have gone down and now have kind of rebounded.
Yeah, and I think to me, this was the other big fascinating thing to look at from an auto dealership and, an auto industry perspective, because kind of in 2017, the Department of Defense issued guidance that gap products, by being kind of a credit focused product, would trigger a thing where an auto loan wouldn't be exempt from the Military Lending Act. What the act says is you can't have an interest rate over 36%. It starts adding the cost of things bundled with the loan. So like an F&I product, they do a calculation, they count it in with a 36%. So it's easy to go over that. The other issue is, from a collateral perspective, the loans become unsecured when that triggers. So the end effect of all this was that there was really no lenders or dealers really wanted to sell gap to service members. It's not that they didn't want to, but because of the way that the government was going to reclassify the loans, it wasn't really a good financial reason to. And so there was, a big uproar. NADA dealers, kind of were lobbying the government, like, well, look, because of this, service members aren't getting the protection that, that they want, that the civilians are getting offered. Anyway, and so the government finally reversed itself. And so now gap, there's really no barrier to selling it to service members. And what you find in the CFPB data is you see both gap purchases among troops just collapses in early 2018 after the guidance comes out. Once the government changed its policy and dealers and lenders could offer it with auto loans again, it shoots back up. So it kind of shows that, yeah, the troops really do want to buy gap, and it kind of reinforces what the dealers were saying during that whole time. They want that protection, and now that it's back available, they're all buying it again.
Yeah. And I guess in closing, the kind of key takeaway is that for dealerships, service members, military members are good F&I customers. They buy products.
Yeah, exactly. It's their demand is there. It's absolutely there. They some of it is there might be protections, but they also don't. They're better. Some of it might be the protections that are under the law, that with service members it's harder to repo their vehicles and all that. But regardless, the data does show they're better for a lender as well. They're not, there's not as many issues with them making payments and things like that. So that's a plus. And obviously it's also good. The Trump administration has been kind of beating up on the CFPB lately, but one of the things that they are clear that they want the CFPB to do is to regulate, is to be on top of service members. So that's another reason to kind of, pay attention.
Right. They may be cutting back and they may be, gutting the staff, but they have said that, being certain that military members are treated fairly is still a high priority for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, John, interesting stuff. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
John Hutter covers finance and insurance for us at Automotive News. He spoke with our own Dan Shine. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Paige Hodder for her reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on F&I, trade policy, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back over the weekend for our Weekend Drive edition of the show. Our own John Irwin talks about our list of the top 100 suppliers in North America, Europe, and the world.
They want that guarantee that, if we're going to make some massive investment to supply for you guys, we want to make sure that we're not going to just be stuck holding the bag at the end like we have been the past couple of years.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.